Hey, my name's Paul Maxwell. I'm the CEO of RevOps HQ. We're a certified HubSpot solutions partner. And today we're going to talk about how to set up your HubSpot if you're an insurance agency or an insurance broker. Now, first things first, I want to talk about the fact that HubSpot does a lot of things. If you're not familiar with what HubSpot is, it's a CRM. We use HubSpot at our company, and we're just a small team of 10. We use it to manage and send out all of our marketing email, sales email, all of our social media. It replaces Buffer. It replaces all of our advertising consolidation platforms. We do all of our ads for Meta, LinkedIn, Google, everything outside of this. All of our event management, all of our forms submit right back to HubSpot. So we can even text outside of HubSpot. There's a ton you can do. You can build your website. You can segment. There's all this stuff. All that stuff is available in other videos and other training. What we're going to show you today is the fundamental object model inside of your CRM that you can set up specifically for an insurance agency or brokerage. So what does that mean? In order to set up HubSpot so that you can leverage the full power of its automation workflows and all of the logic you can build out, and to, for example, run targeted ads on specific people or send email reminder follow-ups based on certain conditions that happen in your business. You can run your whole business out of HubSpot. But the core thing you have to get right is the object model. Now, what is an object model? So this is HubSpot's little language. And basically, I want you to step back for a second and just think about a spreadsheet. Okay, a spreadsheet is a bunch of records where each horizontal row represents an instance of that record, and each column represents an attribute. So in this case, we're looking at a table or a spreadsheet of contacts, where the row is Idris Dunmore. That's a person. Each row is a new person, and each column is an attribute of that person: their first name, their last name, their email, right? HubSpot calls this an object. So here, if I go into the CRM and I click on companies, I'm going to see the company's object or the company's table, for example, right? And I can see all of these companies here. And in HubSpot, we have what's called the core four objects, or the core four tables, where you have contacts. Contacts are individuals, companies are organizations. Deals are transaction opportunities that arise from contacts and companies that you can do business with these people and these organizations. And then tickets, which are customer service opportunities that arise from these transactions, which are closed won, or which are where the transaction has been successfully completed and they're doing business with you. Okay, contacts, companies, deals, and tickets. But for insurance agencies, we're actually going to talk about 4 additional tables that you have to have in place. And then we're going to show you how to use HubSpot using those objects. Because trust me, if you want to be good at managing your insurance agency inside of HubSpot, one of the core competencies you have to have as a business manager or business owner is the competency of understanding how CRMs work. Okay. And I know it's a little bit of a learning curve, but my goal is that by the end of the day today, you're not only going to understand some of the basic CRM competencies and vocabulary that you need to run your business, and more than that, to run it on HubSpot, but also you're going to understand how to set it up specifically for an insurance agency or a brokerage. Okay. So let's zoom out for a second. What is HubSpot? HubSpot is one database of everything your business touches, every client, every person, every job, every request, with the work that happens to them that is attached. Okay. So most companies have that spread across a CRM, a spreadsheet, this software, that software. The goal of HubSpot is to have what we call a single pane of glass for you. All right. And in order to do that, we have to understand how your specific business works. Now, we've already talked about, here we're going to talk about the 4 objects that you have in HubSpot as an insurance agency or brokerage. Contacts, every person you deal with; companies, the firms that they work for or the companies you do business with; deals, which is money you are pursuing and where it stands; and then tickets, which are requests and issues after the sale, typically with a clock on them. But for insurance agencies and brokerages, you're going to have 4 additional objects or 4 additional tables. You're going to have policies, part of the insurance agencies and brokerage chain where you pursue, sell, deliver, and recur on a policy. You have claims, which you pursue, sell, deliver, and recur. And then you have carriers, and you have coverage lines. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about how all these relate to each other. And then what we're going to look at is the process that they facilitate. Okay. So Let's look really quick at how this works. So on a contact, for example, for an insurance agency, you've got all their basic contact information here. And now you're probably thinking to yourself, Paul, it looks like I'm looking at a spreadsheet. Why wouldn't I just use a spreadsheet? Just hang on. We'll get there. I promise. Okay. HubSpot is a lot more than a spreadsheet, but it's also important for us to be able to view this data at this level because there's basically three things you can do with data. Okay. You can interact with it manually like this. You can automate it in the context of a workflow where you build logic around it. So if this is the case, then take this action, and you could build branch conditions and all this complicated logic around data. Okay. So you can interact with data, you can automate based on data, and then you can visualize data. Okay. Those are the three things you can do. So it's important for us to be able to view this data in a tabular form so that we can interact with it. Right. And what's going to happen is I'm going to click in here and we're going to see the relationship that this record and this set of records has to all the other objects. Right. So here, again, our columns are the attributes that we store on these records. The companies are here, and we start to store some what are called custom properties or custom attributes that are unique to our business model on these companies. So for example, we have a company and we have a total premium, the total policies held by that company, the loss ratio of that company, the account type. Is it personal, commercial, benefits, or mixed? Is it a monoline? Yes or no? What's the company domain name, right? Here's some basic sort of insurance specific information we're storing on that company record. On a deal, here we can view it as a table, but we can also view it as a life cycle. So we view it along stages. Initially, we've got a lead, we've got the X date captured, we've got it quoted, presented, and then it's bound or it's lost. Bound would be that it's won, right? And as these things, as certain things happen, as they have certain documents signed, as certain things occur, you can either manually move these along here, or you can progress them automatically, where again, you have a workflow like this, where you say, if the contract is signed, then move the deal to the next stage, right? So here, if we have the quote, and then you have a meeting where a presentation is scheduled, you can have the deal automatically move to the next column, right? So you're not here all day manually moving stuff around, moving it back and forth, right? You just have the automations in place that when these events happen, these deals are moved to the next thing. That way, when meetings are scheduled and all that stuff happens, things are just moving along, and your revenue reporting inside HubSpot, which we will look at in a moment, completely stays automatically up to date based on an event-driven framework. So meetings happen, deals move forward. Documents are signed, deals move forward, right? The point of the deal is to keep track of all the revenue data associated with a potential transaction. Okay. Now we are getting into policies. Okay. Policies, again, this is a custom object. This is a policy where we've got custom information, the annual premium and the policy status, right? Is it bound? Is it quoted? Is it active? Is it lapsed? Is it canceled? That kind of thing. Then we have claims. Okay. What are the claims? What's the claim amount? What's the claim status? Right. Then we've got carriers. Here are all of our carriers. Here's the premium placed, their loss ratio with us. And then finally, we've got coverage. All right. Here's the actual coverage. We've got the actual deductible, the actual limit, and we can look all of this stuff up. Now, obviously, these are just a lot of spreadsheets. The power here comes from the relationship of all of these together. So if I'm on my contact list and I click into a contact, here is where I can actually see all of the relationships that they have to specific people and other specific things. Number one, over here on the left side, I can call, I can email, I can leave notes, I can create a task, I can create a meeting, and all that shows up here on their activity record. I can see all their history with us, all their emails with us, everything. Right? I can see all their emails. I can see LinkedIn posts. I can see if they visited our website. I can see everything, right? But I can also see all the related records. So here's all the policies that this person has with us. Let's say they're insured on this one. They're additionally insured on this one. They've got a policy placed here. Okay. And then the policy status. So I actually have a historical point of view on their entire policy history with us here. I've got associated claims. So these would be any claims that are filed by or related to this person. So for example, they're adjusting this claim. They've reported this claim. Here's a claim that's been issued. And then we've got the associated carriers. So for example, this would be a unique one, right? Usually you wouldn't have one person associated with all these different carriers, right? But you've got an underwrites for, you've got a represents, right? You've got this person in relationship to all of these different carriers. And then you've got associated coverage lines. So here they're insured on this coverage line. line. They're insured on the Odell Works coverage line, right? So you've got, when you're looking at a contact, you can see all the coverage lines, carriers, claims, and policies that this person's associated to, as well as revenue intelligence about all of their billing, any invoices that they have, anything like that. Additionally, you can look at all their address information. You can validate their address. HubSpot can tell you to apply a suggested address instead, and it will update the format of that address. You can calculate routes and driving relationships to various offices or various other locations that they need to have access to. There's a lot that you can do there, okay? I know I've thrown a lot at you, but I'm trying to give you a lot in a little amount of time. Additionally, we can create these workflows where we build any additional workflows or automations to say, hey, when a policy is created, send them this email. Hey, when a policy or a document is executed, have the counter signature document send to the appropriate signer, and then have that person have a task created for them to sign it, right? Lots of different workflows here. We have a lot of these built out just for insurance agencies. We've done this for not dozens, but over 5 insurance agencies. And these are the kinds of informations I want to track. And we can build out workflows for you based on our experience with them. Then, like I said, there's 3 things we can do with data. We can interact with it manually, we can automate based on it, and then we can visualize it. So these are just examples of things. Typically, we have many dashboards and many reports. A dashboard is this overall view in HubSpot where we're looking at this whole screen full of reports. This is a dashboard, and I can switch between different dashboards. The report is the panel on the dashboard. So that's a little language lesson for you there about HubSpot language. So the dashboard is this page we're looking at, and the really a dashboard is just a collection of reports. That's an easy way to put it. Okay. So here's just an example, again, based on this object model of the reports you can make in HubSpot. Because again, you say, oh, I want this report. I want that report. Can our system automatically do this? Can HubSpot automatically do that? So much of what you can do on HubSpot is about leveraging the power of HubSpot, but beneath that power and those features is the appropriate data model for your specific business type. It's all about modeling the data and architecting the data the right way before you even think about any features. And that goes for reporting too. So all of this reporting we can get from because of the data model we have, because we have contacts, companies, deals, policies, claims, carriers, and coverage lines that are all related to one another, and we can all view the historical relationships of these records to one another. Now we can build these reports, right? So now the reporting is easy because we have a clean, straightforward, and accurate data model, again, like this. Okay, so here are some of the data visualizations that we can create. Number 1, sales by quote type. Okay, renewal shop, new business, cross-sell, or remarket. These are the sales that are coming through. Then we have lines of business broken down by policy status. So personal auto, homeowners, umbrella, commercial property, general liability, workers' comp, commercial auto, life. And then we have all the policies and the status. Is it quoted? Is it bound? Is it active? Right? And this gives us, okay, we've got a lot of umbrella coverage that's quoted and 4 that's active. So let's try to get a bunch into that active. And then we've got a bunch that are non-renewed. Let's remarket to them. Let's run a Google Ads campaign that targets these specific policyholders and have them renew with us, right? So you can automatically say anything that's non-renewed, we're going to put them into a Google Ad campaign to renew with us. Next, we've got premium placed by appetite. So here we've got personal, commercial, both specialty and surplus. Okay, that's the total amount. Then we've got ops, personal, commercial, both specialty, surplus. We've got claim amount by status, so reported, open, settled, denied, withdrawn. So if the claim status is false, then here's the amount on that status. And if it's true, then here's the amount on that status. We've got claim status broken down by producer follow-up. So have they been followed up with? Right? So you've got a bunch here that have been reported where you've got false, not followed up with. That's going to be a list to have an automation that goes out to them to automatically communicate with them and follow up. Right? Here's just a lot of low-hanging fruit in HubSpot. Then you've got limit amount by is gap. So is it gap? Right? True, false. Ops is gap, true, false. We've got household premium total by account type. So this is a total for household premium. We've got personal lines, mixed, benefits, and commercial lines, right? And the total revenue amount and the percentage of our, not of our revenue amount, but the premium total, right? Then we've got annual premium by lines of business. So again, personal auto, homeowners, umbrella, commercial property, etc. And we've got the actual amount here. And then finally, we've got the insurance agency's exec total annual premium, right? And that's just, you can do it for a fiscal year. You can do it for this year. You can do it on a rolling 365, whatever you want to do. So I've tried to keep this quick. The point here is that this is the data model. And what I want to show you is this process can be facilitated in HubSpot. Whereas you got marketing, sales, service, and delivery. And HubSpot really is a master it's the perfect tool for optimizing all of these functions of your business inside the same tool and making sure, again, that you have a single pane of glass to handle all of these functions within a unified ecosystem of tools that facilitates a single flow from department to department. So marketing to sales. So marketing generates leads, sales close those leads, service and delivery delivers the product, right? So you've got, starting with marketing, you've got referrals, X-Date outbound, cross-sell, and walk-ins all land here. You've got monoline clients are a list. Okay. Then coverage gaps are recorded during a review and outreach lands 8 weeks before renewal, right? Then sales, you've got quote type decides how it's worked. You've got 3 carriers or it is not shopped. Then you've got the policy record is created at bind and binding creates the policy and its renewal date all automatically within HubSpot. Then for service and delivery, you have renewals run 90 days out on a board. A claim triggers a producer call. A bad loss ratio gets remarketed early, and then carrier concentration is visible. Okay. All of these processes can be done inside of HubSpot. And again, it is all based entirely on implementing this object model. Typically, a HubSpot partner like us would charge you $30,000 to $40,000 to build out all these workflows and all these objects. You know what's crazy? We've already built it out for multiple people and we can install it in your HubSpot portal in one click. Does your insurance agency or brokerage work this way exactly? No, it doesn't. I can guarantee you that. Every business requires a level of customization. But what we've done is we've got you 90% of the way. We'll do an exploration with you. We'll do a discovery process with you. We will understand what is that extra 10% layer of customization that you need. We will take this foundation, implement it in your HubSpot, customize it according to your unique business needs, and train your team on it. So whether you're considering HubSpot or you're a new HubSpot user, I hope you consider working with us. My meeting link is in the show notes. And if it's not, or if you're watching this somewhere else, you can go to RevOpsHQ.com and schedule a meeting with me. There should be a book a meeting button right at the top there. So thanks so much for watching this and best of luck in your insurance agency or brokerage business.